For the last 3 years, I've been traveling to Zurich more than 200 times. In fact, I spent 50% of my last 3 years there. In this video, I want to share with you the 3 habits I learned that changed my life. Welcome to Zurich, Switzerland. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Alejandro. I'm based in the UK and I travel to understand life. So I spent my last 3 years traveling back and forth all the time between London and Zurich, as I had a big project there. Besides visiting many places in Switzerland across all country, and I can probably make 10 different videos about this, I had the fortune to interact with local people on a regular basis. And there are 3 things I picked up that are now habits part of my life. These 3 things are definitely the compound interest of my self-improvement. Also worth mentioning that I even got engaged in Switzerland, so you guys know the magnitude and the impact that this country has in my life. I want to save you time, so I'm leaving timestamps below. Feel free to skip and watch the one you actually care. Let's get started. Number 1, PEAR System. Plan, execute, adjust, repeat. Every project I have done with Swiss people was the same. We spent a lot of time on planning, and seriously a lot. Weeks and sometimes even months. We were over-engineering even simple things. Not even in the UK I spent that amount of time on just planning. And by planning I mean things like idea generation, scoping, tasks, resources, timelines, controls, and different angles to make projects, at least in theory, successful. Also quantifying these things were critical. Agendas, goals, objectives, outcomes, everything needed to be super clear beforehand. And very important, a due date for absolutely everything. And naturally the next step was the execution. And here's the big thing, because technically, after planning so much, we should expect great results, right? It was not always the case, but I have to say that the ability to quickly react was a game changer. And this is related to the next step, adjust. Things are not always perfect, and small adjustments can have massive results. That was exactly what happened. Even some of those adjustments were planned in advance, like there was plan B, plan C, and sometimes even plan D. Not always, of course, but with the right system in place, it was much easier to find alternatives when things were not perfect. And finally, repeat. After getting this circle right and make continuous improvements, it was about repeating. Funny enough, every time there were opportunities to adjust and improve. So it was obvious that there was no perfect plan and not even perfect execution. So I got in this cycle of spending time planning, executing, adjusting and repeating. Nowadays I implement these simple 4 steps in many of the things I do in life. But my biggest takeaway here, there are no shortcuts to success, and consistency is instrumental. Because goals are good to get the direction, but systems are the ones that will make us progress. And I feel like we're happier when we make progress in any aspect of life. Number 2, work-life balance. This one is interesting because by law, the maximum a Swiss company can ask you to work is 45 hours a week, apart from some manual jobs which allow 50. That's relatively high compared to other countries, with France on 35 hours and the UK on 36.5 hours, at least by law and according to the World Economic Forum, right? We know that in reality it's probably more hours in all these countries. However, workers in Switzerland are generally considered to have a good work-life balance, and I've actually seen it in real life and had several conversations with them to get their thoughts on that. Also, according to the OECD's Better Life survey, the share of employees in Switzerland working very long hours is lower than the OECD's average, and Swiss cities are regularly ranked as having amongst the best quality of life in the world. From experience, lunch breaks are important. The culture of part-time work and the high salaries are some of the things that contribute to good work-life balance. In fact, it's very common that people use the lunch breaks to go to the gym, as going after work is very unlikely because it's time for family, and you really respect that in Switzerland. In Zurich, Generally, you don't arrive to a meeting late. Yes, of course, a few minutes is still acceptable, but I mean not really late, like in countries such as Spain and Italy, for instance. People respect time much more than in many other countries. Like, your time is as valuable as their time, so why don't we both respect it? But you also don't leave for your lunch break a minute past noon. Okay, I'm exaggerating a bit, but it's around that time. And if it's summer, jumping into the lake to swim with the swans is an acceptable way to spend your lunch hour. If you eat a sandwich at your desk, people will see it as a weird thing. Unless you went to the gym or you had an appointment and because you ran out of time, you needed to eat at your desk. Whereas in places like London and New York, it's weird to leave your desk. In fact, I have a couple of videos talking about life in London. In case you are interested, please feel free to explore the channel further. I used to go to the Uetliber at least once every week. And excuse me for my bad Swiss German. Uetliber is Zurich's very own mountain from where we have beautiful views of the city and lake and even a glimpse of the Alps. Hey, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's everywhere like this, but at least from my experience in those 3 years, partially living and working in Switzerland, I could see these things very often and still have friends over there that apply all those things that I mentioned. Number 3, minimalism. Shopping is like a national sport in the UK and the US. In Switzerland, while people love to spend their money, the attitude to hitting the shops feels quite different. For one thing, most shops are shut on Sundays. There's less variety and everything is relatively expensive, even online. Of course, salaries are higher in absolute terms compared to the rest of Europe, but it really made me rethink the amount of time I personally dedicated to shopping. And I really feel much better buying less. Because sometimes in Zurich, also generally in Switzerland, my sustainability side woke up. Swiss people, they also understand the impact of human activity on climate change and are keen to avoid making things worse. Even things like AC, right? I'm gonna give you an example. We'll know already that this is not common in residential places, let's say our houses, but also it's not common in offices either. So in summer, it's hot and people don't have AC in the office, and there's multiple explanations, but once few Swiss colleagues told me, ask yourself if you really need to spend this amount of energy to please yourself for few hours of hot weather, and is it worth? If the answer is yes, fine, get a fan. But if it's not worth, please do not complain. Boom. That was crazy. I still remember. Like, wow. Mind-blowing. What's interesting is that commercial centers such as shopping malls, they do have AC, but office is definitely not something super common. And you know, all these little things are always on my mind and move me to action in many aspects of my life. Final thoughts. No doubts, Zurich is a place that really showed me the value of things, how to appreciate more life and understand our journey is not just work. There's more than that. Nature is a key factor to keep me grounded and something I truly respect. I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed nature in Switzerland. I had the fortune to travel east, west, north, south in Switzerland, and nature is one of my best memories ever. In fact, one of my dreams is to live really, really close to nature. Shh, don't tell anyone, but I'm tired of cities. So the PEAR system, including time management of course, striking a better work-life balance and approaching minimalism are the 3 habits that became part of my life. Do I miss Switzerland? Yes, very much. Do I want to travel back? Yes, of course. Is that the place I want to live right now? No, it's not. Why? Because I want to keep traveling to understand life and meet amazing people from different cultures, languages, backgrounds, ethnicities and religions and so on. How can I understand life by reading a book and not seeing it myself? If you like this video, you might also want to check this video over here about 3 lessons I learned in Berlin and why that trip is a must. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.